Is John Cohen of MSU and Keith Carter, Ole Miss Athletic Director. Both of them. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you both?
Good morning, Paul. Doing very well. Appreciate you having us on.
Certainly. Keith, are you there?
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. Thank you for having us.
Look, thank you, guys. I know both of you are busy, and I thank you for joining us. And I won't keep you long because I do want to ask you this. As far as John, first of all, the movement we want to play, where is it, and are people paying attention to this? Does it have any credence at all, and where could this thing go?
Well, I think the will of the student-athlete always has credence, Paul, and I don't think this is an SEC thing or an ACC thing or any Autonomy 5 conference. I think the kids just want to play, and I think everybody wants them to play. We have to be super responsible. We have to make really tough decisions. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I think in terms of wanting to play, I think all of college football, the fans, the players, the coaches, they all want to play. We just have to create the path of a safe environment, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be 100%.
Yeah.
But we just want to put everything we can into creating as safe an environment as we can. And by the way, Keith and I both we have students moving onto our campuses right now, and our presidents and chancellors are charged with that as well. Keeping just our students and putting them in the healthiest environment we possibly can as well.
Keith, I think there is an argument that could be made, and some of the players have said this, they're probably as safe or more so in that controlled environment than anywhere else.
Yeah, obviously, Paul, we feel like that our procedures and protocols with our student-athletes are good, and I think we've seen the evidence of that over the past couple of months as they've returned really the 1st of June, and really low cases, honestly, across the board. And obviously when we do have a positive test, we go through all the proper protocols with isolation and quarantine and contact tracing and those type of things. So I do think that there's something to that our student athletes do feel like they want to be in our environment, in our structure, and having that structure is a good thing. And as John mentioned, with 15 to 20,000 students coming back to campus here, over the next couple of weeks, I think our student athletes look to us to help protect them, from some of those things. And so hopefully we can keep this thing going and protect our student athletes.
Seems the major concern right now, and it's always something new that comes up, and we've had Dr. Dobbs on, Dr. Woodward on, and many others, is the concern about what the long-term effects of the people who have COVID and they're over it, the athletes, what this does to the heart, what it does to the respiratory system. Is that being talked about over there, John, as far as that possibility and looking at that? And
every time we get new information, we take it seriously. And you're right. The target seems to move around, and you're right. The newest issues with student athletes having heart conditions. Of course, it's not new, but how it relates to COVID is a little new, at least in the college athletic part of things. So absolutely. That is a concern. It's something that we're investigating. And, I can't speak for, Keith or anybody else, but all of our student athletes go through a pretty significant screening before they're ever allowed to do anything from a health standpoint. So we will constantly adjust that around this era of COVID-19 and do the very best we can.
Let me ask both of you, first of all, Keith, where are we now? Because September 19th is I think is on the website, but where are we as far as start date and all? So many things are to be announced, but the current status on this as far as the workouts are concerned and getting to the first game.
Well, fall camp will start here pretty soon. I mean, it's going to happen here over the next week or so, and then the first game is scheduled for September 26th. I think John and I are hoping that schedule will come out at some point later this week so that we can start some planning. But we're getting close, and I think that's been the thing all summer, Paul. We kept talking about, hey, we have time, we have some time to work through some things, and now that time is short, and so we're getting closer to the season. I think that Commissioner Sankey and the league office has done a tremendous job of communication and thinking through things very thoughtfully, along with, the input of the ADs and the presidents and chancellors. And for us, it's pushing forward. It's staying the course, and hopefully we can continue to do that in a safe and healthy way.
John, about the same thing at MSU?
Yes, absolutely. Really good point there. September 26th is right around the corner, and we don't even know who we're playing at this point, and that's not anybody's fault. But I think our league has done a great job of waiting to get more information, and I feel like the steps that our league has taken under the leadership of the commissioner have been right on. I don't think that we have made a poor decision yet, but of course time will tell us all. It always does if you made a great decision or not.
Oh, that's an understatement. Don't you guys both feel like the statement that's going to be made by the SEC, if the season can get underway, if it can be done successfully, man, the eyes of the nation, every other conference that's fallen by the wayside, everybody's watching the football loyalty of fans, regardless, across America and across the world, everybody's watching you guys. And if it fails, then they'll say, I told you so. But if it doesn't, it's going to revert back to every hometown, every living room, and every stadium across America.
Well, I think, Paul, the important thing to remember is, we haven't started the season yet. I think the FCC, what I think John and I hope is that we continue to push forward. We continue to go down the pathway that we've created. The beauty of this is we can pivot at any moment, and certainly we're going to let the medical piece, the science, the health kind of dictate where we go and where this virus goes over the next month or so. We'll see, but I think we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our student athletes to at least try. And if we need to pivot somewhere down the line and go a little bit different direction, we can certainly do that.
John, let me ask you first of all. Is there any restrictions as far as crowds gathering or some of the student body gathering outside the stadium itself on game days, or any restrictions on campus as far as groups? I guess it would mandate the same thing that the governor is talking about as far as on campus during game days, if and when they happen?
Yeah, I think Keith would agree. We're going to rely on state and local governance in terms of the best practices in terms of what crowds are able to do. If you're asking about tailgating, I will say we don't have a clear picture of that yet. I think I can say with a degree of safety that it won't look the way it's looked in the past. There's no question about that. Tailgating is going to be problematic for several reasons, but we have in this great country we live in, we have the ability to adapt and hopefully stay healthy at the same time. So I think we both have creative fans who will be able to hopefully adapt and stay safe at the same time.
Keith, do you have confidence that as far as spring football is going to happen to some of these conferences?
Well, that has been on the table really since day one as we kind of work through options. And I know, from our standpoint, we don't feel like it's the best option. Is it an option? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I just think there's a lot of logistical things you'd have to work through in the spring. Obviously you're putting your student athletes through some rigorous, physical activity in the spring, and then you turn right around and play, start camp up again in August. So that's a lot of football in one calendar year. But yes, I think it's certainly an option. And if, for some reason we had to go another direction with the fall, then we would pivot and look toward the spring. But I don't think anybody thinks that's a great option and would prefer to stay the course here in the fall.
Gosh, I wish we had more time, guys. I thank both of you for taking the time. We look forward to it, and we're ready to play ball.
Thank you, Paul.
John, thank you.
Paul.
Keith, thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. Great job, guys.